We're going to talk about one of the most foundational things that your program or your campaign will be doing within the PDI system in order to reach out to volunteers or reach out to voters, and that is creating a universe. And specifically in this video, we're going to stay very, very focused on creating voter universes so that you can create lists of voters that your campaign can then reach out to via door-to-door canvassing, via phone bank, via text, digital ad, or more. Universes are one of the most powerful and foundational tools within the PDI system, and that's why we're going to talk about it today. So there are two ways that you can access the Create Voter Universes page. First, you can go up here to the dashboard, universes and lists, and then click Create Voter Universes. There's also a default under Create Voter Universes under quick links. And so I'm going to go up here to the dashboard, click Create Voter Universes, and what it's going to bring me to now is it's going to bring me to this page. And there's two options here. There's a simple universe query builder, which basically has everything that you need to create universes, from pulling up previously saved universes that you created, PDI predefined universes, which we'll talk about a little bit more in another video. There's voter IDs, party, ethnicity, language, ages, geography, gender. But I will just very briefly show you some of the options here in this advanced universe query builder. So if you go to add or remove tabs, you can add several different advanced tabs here. Right now I have vote history selected because I like to build universes based off of how often people have voted in elections, and we're going to show you how to do that today. There's also demographics, geography, my flags, which contains your support flags and response codes, early voting models, and saved universes from before. But today, we're going to stay very focused on this simple university query builder and just use one of the tabs, that's the vote history tab. And the reason we're going to do that is because I want to show how easy it is to build a universe from this simple universe query builder, and then, just utilizing just one or two of the advanced tabs. So for this video, we're going to build a universe of voters that meet the following criteria. We're going to want them to be women. We're going to want them to be age range 18 to 50, and then we're going to want them to have voted in the past 4 out of 5 statewide elections. And so actually, let's just say 4 out of 5 elections to keep it even simpler. So I'm going to go down here to age and say 18 to 50. I could select the gender value. I'll say female. And then I'm going to go over here just to show you kind of how you would utilize the advanced universe query builder. I'm going to go over here to vote history. And anytime that you're pulling vote history, you'll want to select list all elections by date to include, basically your local elections, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to click, as I said, I wanted 5 elections. So I'm going to click the past 5 elections, and I'm going to say right here, voted in at least 4 out of those 5. So that's how I've basically built this criteria. And as you can see, all of my criteria shows up on the pending criteria column over here. I've got my age, I've got my gender, I've got my vote history by date, and I'm going to say, okay, well, that is basically what I want to stay focused on. You could, if you wanted to, add criteria by household. So let's say that one voter within a household actually meets all of these criteria, but the other voters within her household do not. But I could say, hey, I just want all of the voters in the household if one voter shows up within this criteria. It really depends on if you want to do that or not, what the use case is. I'm not going to do it right now. And then what'll happen is I will add my criteria, and it will go ahead and do this process counts. And as you can see, it'll give me a count of voters, houses, mailboxes, phones, and emails. Before I save universe, what I want to show you is a couple things that you could do. You could intersect this criteria, which is, this is all kind of like a Boolean logic down here. What this means is I could say, I would like all of the criteria I said before, and I would like them to be Latino or some other ethnicity and or language. I could also say, or I want all of the voters that are Latino, or I could exclude and say and not. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to keep it very simple. One thing that I will note is, please be sure to press this red button that says exclude dead, moved, voted, and suppress. And what that's going to do is it's going to, take out people that have been on the national change of address form, or people that once it gets closer to an election and you're within early vote have voted early. And then that way, when you are sending people to do door-to-door canvassing or phone banking, they're not calling people that have already voted, etc., etc. But for now, what we're going to do, we've pressed the button. Make sure that you always do that. We're going to save the universe, and I'm just going to name this my master universe. You could use any naming convention that you want. And then you have the options to save it as a static list, which means that it's always just going to be the same list, no matter what criteria change. You could say set the universe as a target. And then there's this option to save it as a flag, which means you could basically give all of the voters on this universe a response code. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to save it as a universe, and it's going to say, hey, your universe has successfully been saved. Now that I've done this, there are a whole lot of things I could do. I can actually begin to set up canvassing projects to send volunteers to talk to voters. I can do phone bank projects. I can begin building lists and files. There's a whole lot of places to go once you've built your universe, but this will be one of the most foundational things that you do. So please get familiar with that and reach out to us if you have any more questions.